station. This is Andrew Flanagan with Billboard. How do you hear me?
Yes, we got you great.
Okay. I'm very excited to be talking to you guys. My first question is, people talk about their desert island discs, but that's a concept that you actually had to face. Maybe vastness of space discs. What did you bring?
So the question is, what music did we bring?
Mm-hmm.
And is that what the question was, Andrew? Okay,
Yeah.
I brought a lot of different kinds of music. I have a lot of contemporary Christian music, like Brandon Heath, Casting Crowns, that kind of music. I've got some pop and some dance music I use when I work out. I brought some country music. I got some classical stuff to just chill out to. So I really like a lot of different kinds of music, and it depends on what mood I'm in. It depends on what I'm doing.
What about, who's that? Sorry.
Yeah, that would be me, Butch. Yeah, I'm about the same. I've got some contemporary Christian, some Mercy Me and that type of stuff. I also really like kind of the big bands, kind of movie score type music with Audio Machine and Thomas Bergerson and that type of genre as well. I listen to a lot of that.
Do you guys ever fight over who gets to pick the music?
No, actually, we haven't. I like his music. He seems like mine, too.
Who would you say has the best taste? For some reason, my guess was Elena Serova.
Yeah, that's a good guess. Her and Samantha as well. Yeah, they both got very good taste in music.
If you could pick one artist, alive or dead, to send into space, either to learn from the experience or just to entertain you, who would it be?
I would send Brandon Heath. He's a good friend of mine. He's a contemporary Christian artist, and he was actually at my space shuttle launch, and he came to Russia, to Kazakhstan, for my launch from Baikonur a few months ago. So he's a good friend of mine. He actually wrote a song after my shuttle launch that was kind of inspired by that. So I think it would be really cool to have him up there, somebody who's an artist, who's not just a pilot, fighter pilot like me and Butch are, but somebody who could communicate the wonder of spaceflight. I think that would be really cool.
I honestly could not choose one. There's so many that I enjoy. I'd be narrowing it too narrow if I were to pick one. Can't do it.
Piggybacking off what you just said, how relieved are you that Chris Hadfield and his guitar aren't there anymore?
Oh, we've heard Chris play many. Actually, Chris is pretty good, and he's got some songs. I mean, he's made up a couple of songs that are quite humorous as well. So we kind of enjoy that. It's not bad.
Okay. Terry, you're pretty active on Twitter, but how connected are you in real time to the world below? Do you have to just take Houston's word for everything?
You know, they keep us in touch pretty well. We can make phone calls when we have the right satellite connection. So throughout a lot of the day, it's possible to make a phone call if you want to do that. We get email in almost real time, so we can get messages back and forth. And there is an internet connection that is available part-time. So we do have sometimes real time connection and oftentimes almost real time. So we could stay plugged in to the Earth. You know, one of the advantages of being in space is that you can get rid of that email account on the ground, and you can get disconnected a little bit. It's actually pretty nice to not know everything going on in the last possible second. You know, it's kind of nice to be disconnected.
No, I'm envious. After a long kind of period of quiet in the 90s, are you glad to see that space exploration and science in general have kind of re-entered the public imagination and conversation?
I think it's awesome. And, you know, we get a chance to travel around the world and talk to students and adults, and we just get to talk to people about spaceflight. And I've never met anyone who wasn't interested in it, who wasn't enthralled by it, who didn't think it was awesome. And it's because it is. And I think there's a lot of interest in space travel. I think that in the coming years and decades, as NASA and hopefully other partner nations start to go beyond the moon and Mars and start to explore the solar system, that's going to be even more exciting. So I think it's a good time.
Is it hard to keep lying about aliens flying around the Earth all the time?
No, it's not hard at all. There's no line. I've never seen anything or even a hint of what I would think was something strange. Not that it couldn't happen, I guess, but I certainly haven't seen it.
All right, I guess I'll have to take your word for that. How do you respond to people who say that space exploration and experimentation is a waste of money?
Well, I say, as an American, exploration and the drive to move west and expanding frontiers, that's just part of who we are as Americans. And as a nation, unless we're expanding and pushing ahead, I think we're going to be retracting and contracting. So I think it's something that we need to do. It's in our national character. And by pushing boundaries and doing things that you haven't done before, you make discoveries about how to do other things that you may not have even anticipated. So there are practical benefits for folks on Earth, but there's also the national character, what I call it, just the desire to go explore, that is very important. And when you look at NASA's budget, if that's what you're talking about specifically, it's much less than 1% of the federal government budget. So we do spend a lot of money, and we appreciate the taxpayer support. But in the big picture of what we're spending, and when we spend that money, we don't launch it into space. We spend it on Earth, at home, on engineer jobs and so on. So the amount of money and resources that we put into space exploration, I think, is well spent, and the returns are pretty good.
Can you talk a little bit about the experiments you're conducting up there? I know there's 4 of them, and they all sound incredibly interesting.
One of the really cool things about being here on the space station is we get to do a lot of different varied experiments. We have an astronomy experiment that's looking for dark matter and antiparticles. We have a lot of biology experiments. I was just growing some morning glory plants, and we're going to be growing rice plants here soon. I did one, it's called capillary flow experiment, that will hopefully help future satellites be able to use every last drop of fuel, because it's so expensive to launch things into space. That's important. And that was really cool, because by changing the geometry of a container just by like 1/2 of a degree, you can get this fluid to move really quickly in different directions. And so you can change the geometry of a gas tank and make sure all the fuel gets sucked out of the gas tank. I did not ever anticipate that would happen, but in weightlessness, that's the way it behaves. I could go on and on. There's so many different experiments we're doing, but they're very interesting. Some of them provide benefits on Earth, hopefully curing diseases for humans, and others are learning about the universe that we live in.
Great. I've just got one more silly question for you. Do you think that Beyonce got robbed at the Grammys this year when Beck won?
Absolutely, she was robbed. We were very upset about that. We were talking about it for days. So yeah, we're on Kanye's side.
Thank you so much. It was a real honor to talk to you.
Yeah, it's our pleasure, Andrew. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the Billboard portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from WBIR-TV.
This is Beth from WBIR-TV. Can you hear me?
Beth, we have you loud and clear. Welcome to the International Space Station.
Well, greetings from Knoxville, Tennessee. How are you?
We're doing great. It's great to be talking to God's country.
I hear you. I'm a little disappointed you didn't mention Rocky Top to Billboard Music, and I don't see any orange.
Yeah, I've only had a few opportunities to get some of my clothes back, and all my orange went back on this last SpaceX last week. My apologies.
I understand NASA's had to make some special accommodations given that you're a UT fan.
They have, actually. Yeah, they provided the SEC network and other opportunities to watch as much of the college football and University of Tennessee as I wanted. So it was fantastic. It was a great season to be up here and be able to watch all of that.
Flight engineer Virts, are you sick of hearing about Tennessee?
Yes.
Well, you're missing, I just want you to know, missing a big ice and snowstorm here in Tennessee. So I hope things are much better where you are.
Yes, I've heard. I've seen pictures. Of course, my family still lives in Middle Tennessee, and they've shown me the 2-inch thick on their cars, some pictures and photos. So, yeah, the 72 degrees around the clock year-round here is really nice. Absolutely.
What do you miss most about Tennessee? Obviously, your family, but the state.
Yeah, I think in general, I miss the rolling hills. There's, and Houston's a great city, a great place, but it doesn't have the topography that Tennessee offers, and that's the main thing for me. I grew up with that and was used to seeing that, rolling hills everywhere you went, all the different greenery and whatnot. So that's definitely what I miss the most.
Going to space, was this always the dream growing up for you in Tennessee?
I guess it was something that, like a lot of kids my age, when I was a child, I thought about. It was something that entered my mind, but never once fathomed that possibly I'd be floating here with a couple of spacesuits and find another American Colonel Virts here and doing the things that we're getting to do. I never dreamed it would actually come true. No, it's pretty amazing.
Colonel Virts, if you guys give me a tour of where you are, and I want to talk about the spacewalks. You have one of 3 coming up.
We do, yeah. This is the airlock right here. These are our spacesuits. This is Butch's suit, and this is my suit. And we're going out on Friday. And he's going into what we call the crew lock. That's the part of the airlock where we actually go outside. That hatch that he's sitting on right now is the hatch that he will open up on Friday, and then we're both going to go out into open space. And then this hatch right here will come down and close and seal us off. And then we have a pump that'll pump the air back into the space station, most of it, so we don't waste it. And we'll be outside for planned on 6.5 hours, and but we got to get in the suits a couple hours before that, and we're probably in them for an hour after that. So you're in the spacesuit almost all day long, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Commander Wilmore, what's the mission with these spacewalks?
Well, in short, we have a future vehicles that are going to dock to the space station, and the docking adapters are going to be different. They're going to be changed. So those docking adapters, since they are different, have different power requirements, basically, and we're going to be running cables from the base of the station here out to the very end of the station where those docking adapters will be installed. And that's kind of a short answer to a lot of work, though, just running cables, and there's many cables run all over the station that we'll be doing in those 3 spacewalks.
How are the accommodations there and the amenities?
Oh, it's a 5-star hotel. I mean, you've got a free bed and free food, and like I said, it's 72 degrees around the clock. You can't beat it. It's fantastic.
Are the 2 of you sick of each other yet?
No, we've known each other for 15 years, and Terry's, like I said, he's a fine American. He's a colonel in the Air Force, and I got a great deal of respect for him. We know each other's families well, so no, I'm not tired of him at all. Hopefully he's not tired of me. And also, one thing I forgot to mention, obviously, is the view is pretty incredible.
I can only imagine. Anything you want to say, Commander Wilmore, to folks in Tennessee, or anything else you want to say about the state of Tennessee and how it's shaped you?
Well, Tennessee's home. I think that, the character, if I have any decent character, it came from the roots in Tennessee, and just an attitude of friendly people everywhere you go, everywhere you meet, willing to lend a helping hand. That's what I grew up with, and hopefully that's a little bit of me as well, and I can, share some of that with others. So Tennessee, like I said, it's home. It's God's country. I love it there, and hopefully one day I'll be able to come back.
Any message to the Tennessee Volunteers?
Absolutely. Go Vols. We got big expectations next year, and we're excited. It sounded like it was a good recruiting season for the football team, so absolutely, we're thrilled.
Well, give me an idea of your daily schedule. And Flight Engineer Virts, you can do this if you'd like.
The days.
Yeah,
go ahead.
One of the interesting things about being here is that every day is different, and we start our mornings about 7:30 in the morning with a call down to the ground, kind of a morning tag-up planning conference, and then it goes for about 12 hours. About the same time in the evening, we end the day with another conference, and in between, they schedule us for a couple hours of exercise every day. We usually have several hours of experiments that we do. There's usually a couple of maintenance tasks to repair something or replace a piece of equipment. These last few days, we've been spending a lot of time in here getting ready. You can see right behind Butch all the equipment that we need to take outside, these cables and different tools we've been gathering. So every day it's something different. When we can, we try and sneak a look out the window and take some pictures. Unfortunately, that's usually not nearly as much as we'd like to, but every day's different. It's a lot of fun. And then in the evenings, usually we have dinner together and talk, and we hear about Tennessee.
Lucky you. Commander Wilmore, when you return to Earth...
I am lucky, and I just want to say, I'll just say real quick, I love Tennessee. I've been there many times. I got good friends there, and I really enjoy visiting. It's a beautiful state.
That's great to hear. Commander Wilmore, when you return to Earth, will you come back to Tennessee, or do you live in Houston now?
Oh, I do live in Houston. All the astronauts live and train out of Houston. That's true. But all my family's there. My parents, they're in Mount Juliet. My wife's mother and family, they all live up in Oneida, Tennessee, north of Knoxville, north of you. They'll probably be watching this. So we'll be in Tennessee often, and probably not long after I return.
Yes, we talked with some of your family from Oneida.
Outstanding. Yeah, that's like I said, that's my wife's family. Great individuals there, and great support as well.
Well, you guys have a safe trip home. Hopefully we can talk to you when you return to Earth.
That'd be great. Yeah, we'll try to stop on by, and thank you very much.
All right. Any last messages to Tennessee?
Sure. Let's say go Vols.
No Rocky Top? You can't sing Rocky Top?
I can say Rocky Top, but you don't want to hear me sing it.
I'll take your word for it. Well, a pleasure to talk to you both. Appreciate what you're doing, and thanks for giving us some time today.
Absolutely, Beth. Thank you very much, and all your listeners and watchers. Thank you. Have a great day.
All right. Take care.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes our event.
Thank you, Billboard and WBIR-TV station. We are now resuming operational audio communications.